Hey, what's up, it's Todd. Today's video is incredibly important because I'm going to tell you how to get a girlfriend, how to keep her around, and how to have a healthy relationship. This is something that does not get talked about nearly enough, especially not in an intelligent, useful way. So you get on one hand the very sort of like mainstream chody advice that really just fundamentally doesn't work and puts you in a weak position. On the other hand, you get this very cynical, jaded, sort of almost woman-hating advice that says that if you ever do anything nice for your girl, she'll cheat on you and cuckold you and all kinds of shit like that, which is also ridiculous. I'm gonna tell you right now, from 18 years of experience of going out and doing game and also consistently having relationships through that entire period, how to actually have girlfriends the right way. To start off with, I want to define for you what a relationship is, because until you understand what a relationship actually is, how can any advice about a relationship even make sense for you? So a relationship basically has two components. It has an emotional component and a practical component. On a practical level, what a relationship is a contract. It is a set of expectations, whether explicitly expressed or implicitly implied, that is what one person expects from another person. And this can be based on things that have been said, can be based on history and patterns, etc. But it is what you expect, there are sort of the rules of what the other person can and can't do, what the other person should and shouldn't do, and how you are expected to behave in return. So that's on a practical level what a relationship is. In a way, it's almost like a working contract. On another level, though, on the emotional level, what a relationship is, it's a shared story, it's a shared narrative. It is emotionally what you mean to each other and why you are significant to each other. And both of these factors, when put together, are going to form a healthy relationship. So if you have an unhealthy contract, a contract where one person is bringing all the value and the other person's not, that's going to be a skewed relationship, maybe not healthy, maybe not so good. If you have a contract where the terms are not well defined, there's going to be a lot of confusion, a lot of unnecessary fights, and things like that. Okay? On the other hand, on the emotional side, if you have a dynamic where both people feel like they're winning and there's something special going on, they're going to be very motivated to contribute and grow and build that relationship. On the other hand, if both people feel like they could do better, if both people have disdain for the other person, that's going to lead to a very negative relationship, even if there is a good general contract in place. So these are the two factors you're really looking for in creating a relationship. And sort of to give you a metaphor of sort of this narrative and contract example a little bit, let's say there's a particular girl and there are two men. One man is her boyfriend of a few years, the other man is like a rock star whose poster she has on her wall. Now objectively, of the two men, who has higher social value? Probably the rock star, right? That said, if that girl doesn't get called by both men, Rockstar doesn't call and boyfriend doesn't call, she's not obsessed and sad and crying because Rockstar doesn't call. She's obsessed, sad, and crying because boyfriend doesn't call. For why? What reasons? Well, one, she has this shared narrative, this history with the boyfriend where they mean something to each other. His value has found a way to be emotionally relevant and resonant for her, whereas the Rockstar's value, while it's high, is this nebulous concept. Secondly, she probably has some kind of shared contract, some shared expectations, either explicitly, the boyfriend's supposed to call her, or implicitly, he usually does call her, and that's being violated, which is where the stress is coming from, right? So here you see the example of the narrative, which has an emotional effect, and the contract, which has a practical effect, all right? So that's really what a relationship is this narrative of what the two of you are to each other, and this contract of what you expect from each other. And that's what the difference is between two people who are attracted to each other and two people who are in a relationship. Keep that in mind as we go forward. Now I'm going to explain to you from here exactly how to get the girl to stay around after sex, how to build a healthy relationship, and how to get a relationship on your terms. As long as we're talking about narrative, a huge part of the relationship narrative is the fact that you are a win for the girl. So say that we're rating guys and girls on terms of social value. If a girl's like social value 7, she wants a guy who's at least social value 7.5 or 8 so that she feels like she's elevating her social value. Right? And this is true for biological evolutionary reasons. She wants good genetics. Also, it's true for social reasons. She doesn't want her friends making fun of her. She doesn't want to lose social status because of who she's dating. So she wants to feel that you're a win. Now, this runs very contrary to the way that men typically behave, because most men in society at large, basically, as soon as they decide they like a girl, like, oh, I like this girl, she's special, she's the one, and they start acting differently around her. They start putting her on a pedestal, and the girl is going to sense that difference in behavior. She's going to sense that you're lower value, and that's actually going to make it not a win for her. Because think of it this way. If you're treating her like she's super, super special, well, that must mean you don't usually get girls of her caliber, which must mean that you're not of a higher caliber than her. Okay, so the very ironic thing is the very fact of wanting a girlfriend or trying to get a girlfriend is one of the biggest things that's going to keep you from getting a girlfriend. The best way to get a girlfriend is just being a high value guy who has lots of girls in his life, who doesn't need to get needy for a particular girl, who is abundant, right? As soon as I hear a guy say, oh, I actually like this one, I'm like, you are actually not going to sleep with this one, and you're actually not going to make her your girlfriend, all right? You need to have the idea that no single girl is going to determine whether you're successful with girls. Now, it doesn't mean no single girl is going to change your life, because if you do marry a girl and have kids with her, she obviously changed your life. But the thing you need to have in your head is that if you have good enough game and a good enough life to attract a girl of that caliber once, you can attract a girl of that caliber over and over and over again. So you may have had your life altered by going with one girl versus another girl, but you fundamentally were not successful or unsuccessful because of that one girl. And that idea of abundance is going to be so critical to you. Because if you take the idea of a relationship as a negotiation, in a negotiation, as soon as you're unwilling to walk away from the negotiating table, you are going to lose, right? The person who's unwilling to walk away is the person that's not going to have his demands heard. So the key thing that you want to have with a girl, when a girl is your girlfriend, you do want to want her. That's important. You do want to love her, but you cannot absolutely need her. You can never get to the point where you're desperate and you feel like if the girl were to leave you, you couldn't replace her. Or you feel like, if I don't get with this girl, I'll never meet another girl of her caliber. Because as soon as you start believing that, you're going to start behaving in a lower value way. You're going to start being needy, and nothing turns a girl off more than that very neediness. Okay? Beyond that baseline of don't be needy, which is like the absolute like kryptonite of a relationship, you can take this idea of being a win for the girl to a lot of higher levels. And this is actually what advanced game is. The difference between intermediate game and advanced game is a difference between, success in terms of consistency and high results. But on a qualitative level, on an experiential level, the difference is intermediates are pushy, and eventually maybe get the girl. Advanced guys get the girl to chase. They set it up so that the girl feels like that she is winning you over. And that does so much. Number one, it puts you in a position of, she feels special, she feels like she won you over, she feels like she won by getting you. Number two, if she's chasing and she's the one who feels like she can't replace you, she's the one that feels like she needs you, you're gonna get a relationship much more on your terms, right? So if you're pushing, needy, and she's like, okay, maybe I'll have sex with you. Well, when it comes times to defining, like, is it gonna be an open relationship or a closed relationship? Or, how often do you get to go hang out with your guy friends? And what are you expected to contribute? And what am I expected to contribute? She's in a position of all the leverage because you're the one begging. On the other hand, if she's been chasing and she's decided that you're a prize and she really wants you, now it's more equal, or maybe even you're in a position of high value and power where you get to determine the relationship you want. One of the best ways to make this happen is through something we call qualifying. Getting the girl to win you over, getting the girl to jump through your hoops and try to impress you, right? Typically, again, in how relationships go in society at large, it's the girl who has the social power and the girl who's like on a pedestal, the guy like, please like me, please want me. If on the other hand you flipped it around and the girl's chasing you, qualifying to you, trying to win you over, that dramatically changes things. So here's a suggestion I'm gonna make to you if you wanna have a girlfriend, and it'll help you for game in general, help you for attracting girls in general, all right? Number one, overall, actively get the girl to qualify herself. Actively ask the girl to show you she's special, actively challenge the girl to show you she's special. If you want to go a step further in terms of the girlfriend thing, do this. I want you to think of what are 5 characteristics you want in a girl that are non-physical, and when you go into your next set of interactions, when you start talking to girls, instead of thinking, oh, I hope she likes me, I want you to start thinking, oh, I hope I like her. Oh, I hope she has these 5 qualities that I'm looking for, and I'm going to actively screen her. I'm going to actively find out if she has those qualities. Because now you're not only setting the dynamic that she can win you over and you're the high value person, but you're specifically screening on the things you want to see. You're specifically finding out if she's a good candidate for you. And you're actually doing something more, which is incredibly important. This is truly advanced girlfriend game, is that you're going to, by that screening process, tell her how to behave with you. You're telling her how to win you over, how to be a good girlfriend and be the type of girlfriend you want. Because different girls, the same girl can have different behaviors across different relationships. One girl with a particular guy might be the crazy, wild, adventurous party animal that travels all over the world and gets into trouble with him. With another guy, she might be stable, responsible, secure, like good wife material. And to a large extent, that has to do with what the guy has indicated he likes. Especially if the girl's in your frame, if the girl's chasing you, you have a lot of leverage to have the type of relationship you want. So if you want a girl to be like wild and crazy and kinky, you need to establish and qualify her on those characteristics. If you want the girl to be responsible and stable and professional, you need to screen the girl on those characteristics. If you want both, you need to screen on both. But by doing this, you're telling the girl what type of girl you want her to be. You're telling her how to win you over. So be very, very careful about setting up one frame for how you end up sleeping with the girl and a completely different frame for what you want later on, okay? So in short, you need to set up a dynamic, you need to set up a frame where you have value and the girl views you as a win. One of the easiest ways to do this is by qualifying the girl, and you want that qualification to be genuine. You want it to be actually based on what you really want, and you would like it to be telling her and showing her your personality and what she can be to be in the best type of relationship with you. Because again, relationship has to do with precedent and contract. So the earlier you set up what the precedent is, what the nature of the relationship you have is, the easier it will be to create that contract in a positive way and to have her understand and fulfill it in a way that's going to make both of you very, very happy. So now that you've established the right frame, gotten the girl to chase you, and you've actually had sex with her, the dynamic changes considerably, right? Sex for a girl is a huge thing in terms of biology, evolution. Up until that moment of sex, she's wondering, why haven't we had sex? Am I going to? Are we not going to? And she's rationalizing all the reasons she has not. Afterwards, she's rationalizing all the reasons she has, and she's gonna be making a lot more decisions in your favor. Or looked at it from an evolutionary perspective, once you've had sex with her, potentially in terms of biology and how we evolved, you already have your seed inside her, so she wants very strongly for you to stay around and help raise the kids. So the shift in her thinking is considerable. At this point, what you want to do is keep her around, invite her into your life. However, you still need to remain non-needy. So in a perfect world, ideally what we'd like to do after sex, let the girl stay over, be comfortable, talk, get to know each other, have breakfast with her, all those kind of things, even spend the next day with her. That would be like the perfect sort of like building a connection kind of thing. However, a lot of guys in knowing this really mess up because they want the girlfriend so badly, they become needy and they try and force it to happen. So maybe the girl has to get up early and go to work the next day and they're like, no, stay for a little bit longer. Like, don't leave, have breakfast with me. And the girl's like, what the fuck? What is this needy bullshit? And they're like, oh God, I made a mistake. I slept with a loser. And they start to feel icky and awful about it as opposed to feeling this connection. So the idea is that time builds this narrative. Time builds this shared experience as long as it's positive. But you want to be very, very careful that you don't go too much into being needy for the experience, trying to create that experience, that you make the experience itself into a negative, all right? So you'd like to keep her around, you'd like her to stay around, you'd like her to stay over, but if you're forcing it to happen, that's not going to be good. In fact, sometimes for very, very hot girls that are used to dating high value guys, the very fact that you do potentially kick them out afterwards or that you're willing to have them leave actually does build comfort because it associates you with those high value guys from before. Now, even with really hot girls, I wouldn't say to overtly try and kick them out, but definitely don't go out of your way to try and make them stick around. And if you do get a sign that you need to, it's much better to have it happen on your terms. And this is kind of a metaphor for everything that comes later, all right? In having a relationship, what you're essentially doing is you are inviting the girl into your world. So you want to go ahead and take the opportunities to make that happen whenever possible. So let's say you're dating a girl for a little bit, you've hooked up a few times, and she invites you to come hang out with her friends. Be willing to say yes to that. Let's say that you're going out with your friends and she asks to come along. If this is a girl you want to turn into a girlfriend, be willing potentially to say yes to that if you've been hooking up for a while and there's a pretty good relationship. On the flip side, if you want to keep it just as like a fuck buddy thing or you don't want it to become a relationship, in that case, go out of your way to avoid hanging out with her friends, go out of the way to avoid her hanging out with your friends, and even more so, hanging out with your family. All right, one other thing you can do to sort of cement that closeness is maybe one time soon into the relationship, have like a kind of a really nice dinner that is kind of the sort of like mainstream societal narrative of, oh, we're together. Do it maybe once just to kind of cement the idea. Or if early on in the relationship you get an opportunity to hang out for like a weekend together or something that's like a getaway and it just says we're together, we're a couple, then the narrative built there can be really, really useful. But again, don't try and force it. Don't try and be like, I want this romantic-y thing, so I'm gonna try and make it happen. If it comes off you have an agenda, it comes off you're trying to make it happen, it's gonna actually work against you rather than for you, all right? So you do not want to be pushing for these things. And in fact, in the long run, what you'd like to do is you want to establish, remember, what is a relationship? It's the contract, the expectations, and also the shared experience. So ideally what you'd like to do with a girl is do the things you like doing anyway. Because if you don't like, say for example, I don't like going out to big, fancy, expensive dinners. So I'm not going to start off with a girlfriend and take her to a bunch of big, fancy, expensive dinners because I'm setting the wrong frame. I'm setting the precedent that that's gonna be her expectation. That's gonna be a problem for me. What I like to do instead is invite her to things I'm gonna do anyway. So for example, I like going to the gym, so I like to invite the girl to go to the gym with me. I like, maybe like playing soccer, doing various activities. Maybe I'll invite her to go to a soccer game with me or come watch me play soccer, things like that, inviting her into your life. And it also is building this comfort, this connection, those kind of things, okay? So that's what you're gonna be doing is instead of like asking the girl for the type of relationship you want, just start having the type of relationship you want with her. Start just deciding you're already there and living and inviting her into the relationship you really want to have. And that's where you're going to get really a lot of the best results. Final note on getting a girlfriend. Understand that in getting a girlfriend, you truly are inviting a girl into your life. In order to do that effectively, you need to have a life. This means you need to have things going on in your life outside of game, outside of pickup. Because when talking to a girl, when having a girl as a girlfriend, you want to be, doing the things you enjoy doing, sharing it with her. But at the same time, a tenet of game, main rule of game, is you don't want to talk about pickup in pickup. You don't want to be talking about the game that's going on. So if you invite this girl into your life and all you're doing is game, you're talking about social dynamics and pickup, and all you want to do is go out to bars, that's not going to be the healthiest relationship. So if you find that your life is veering in that direction, that may actually be a big reason why you aren't getting a girlfriend. You may need to take some time and actually get some hobbies, do some things in your life to improve you as a person rather than just you as a pickup artist, okay? So understand that as well. Understand that fundamentally, you can promise the girl all these values and you can spike her emotions in all these various ways and structure frames in various ways, but end of the day, a relationship comes down to the value you're actually offering. It comes down to the experience you're actually giving her. So if the experience you're giving her is just this like very one-dimensional pickup artist experience, that's not gonna fly either. So I hope this video has given you some insight into what a relationship is, the criteria for getting into a relationship the right way, establishing the right frame, getting her to chase, those kind of things, inviting her into your life and what that all means, what that's all about, and also how to have a relationship that's going to be positive and that's going to naturally become the relationship you want it to become rather than you having to force it there later. Remember, you want to establish that precedent, establish the type of relationship you want to have from the very start. It begins with hello, quite literally, and then each and every step after that, okay? So I hope that helped you a lot. Go out there, get a girlfriend if that's what you want. If not, at least have this in your back pocket for when you do meet that girl that makes you want to consider it, all right? Take care, have fun, see you on the next video.